Have you been having fun so far in an NFL 2025 season? Well, you're going to be having more fun as we get into week four, as Ed Cleese and I get together to pick our big, bold predictions for week four in the NFL. Come join us here in just a moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of PigskinDispatch.com. Welcome once again to the Pig Pen and another great week of big, bold predictions for the 2025 NFL season. I'm joined by Ed Cleese. Ed, welcome back to the Pig Pen.
Hi, Darren. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Doing great.
Yeah. So what did you think about week three in the NFL?
Well, I'll start by saying what really sticks out to me is, we hear all the time about the amazing ratings the NFL does, how it's the most popular, not just the most popular sport on television, but it is the most popular television show in America. And I think, really, I kind of look back at my own experience from this Sunday to kind of like illustrate exactly why. Because the great thing about the NFL is it produces this amazing product in a very, very tight and predictable window of time. Meaning, if you just dedicate yourself, depending on which part of the country you're in, of course, for me, I'm in the central time zone. So if 11:45 a.m. to the end of the day Sunday, you pretty much are guaranteed an awesome viewing experience. And so for me, I've got it set up where we've got two TVs out on our deck. And for the way we do it is we do the Commanders game on the big TV with the sound. Okay, so that's the main event. And then the TV below it is where we do the multi-view. And now if you have YouTube and Sunday Ticket, you can build your own multi-view, which is like, oh my gosh, that just warms my heart. It's amazing. And the best thing about the multi-view is you can also then zap a game once you've decided it no longer is worthy of your screen. So I have this very strict thing we do. We put the four games up and then we sort of deem, okay, like for example, this week, Bengals Vikings, it was off by the end of the first quarter. And a new one comes in. And then you have these blowout games, you have these other games that are close, and then literally, luckily the Commanders were way up. We had it wrapped up. So the last couple minutes we were just running the clock out. I was able to turn my attention to the other games. And in rapid fire succession, right? You might go what, Darren? Weeks without seeing a blocked field goal in the NFL?
Oh, right.
And then in rapid fire succession, we see three game deciding or almost decide game altering blocked field goals in like 6 minutes of real time. It was like boom, 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 and so it's just incredible. It's so fun. It's so exciting, and there's so much happening.
But
And then
wasn't like the Eagles block and the Browns block? It was almost like in the same minute, wasn't it?
yeah, it was like boom and boom, like
boom.
oh another block, another block, and then you look up and the Jets
both
are
return for scores.
and the Jets are returning it for a touchdown. The Jets are winning. They were down 23-6,
Yeah.
and now they're winning. It's just like, what is happening? And then, the late windows weren't as great, but you still had two games that also came down to a field goal on the last play. The Niners and Chargers both win on a field goal on the final play. Those are kind of happening simultaneously as well. So it's just like you strap in for those early afternoon kickoffs, and you're pretty much guaranteed a great time. The Sunday night games lately have been kind of duds, but really, but it's just so fun, and and I think that explains the national addiction to the NFL, which is so unique to that compared to all the other sports.
Yeah, I think this week three was like the NFL excitement on steroids. I believe the stat was that I saw before the Monday night game, they had 9 of the 15 games played Sunday and through Thursday were decided in the last minute. There was a last minute score. Unbelievable.
It certainly felt that way, and it's great because then if we did have some blowouts too, but they're so easy to just discard. We got six other games going on, so okay, forget this one. We move on. It's just great. It's just great. But it's not all necessarily great news for every fan base because here at week three, Darren, I'm already ready to start crossing some teams off.
crossing them off already. 3 week,
already.
3 games into the
Yes.
17 game season. You're crossing
Yes.
some teams off.
Yes.
Okay.
And
All
by
right, let's hear
cross
it.
off, here's what I mean. So, after about Thanksgiving, when they start doing the graphics where they show the playoff picture and then the in the hunt, in the
Hmm.
section with in the hunt, and they usually pretty much list, even if you're right on the outskirts, if you're, 4-7 in the wild card race, but you're in the hunt, right? So these teams, I'm predicting not only are they not going to make the playoffs, we will not see them on the graphic come November and December. They're gone. Okay, these teams we can erase them. We'll never hear from them again the rest of this year, except for maybe for bad reasons. And I'm going to be very very nice, and I'm only going to cut 2 teams this week. Okay, and those 2 teams, we're going to start in Tennessee. We're cutting the Titans. That is a joke. First of all, I'm very disappointed because their coach is Bill Callahan's son, right?
Right,
Right.
right.
Right. So the former coach Callahan. If you're my age, you probably remember the movie Tommy Boy, Tommy Callahan. Okay, Big Tom
Right.
Callahan, all right? And Tommy Boy was his son, Callahan. So I gave, yes, just Sunday, I
You,
decided to
you don't
give.
you don't pick out a steak by looking up a bull's ass, you know.
There you go. Exactly. So you got it perfect. So you're a fan, obviously. Great. So I decided that we're going to call Coach Callahan in Tennessee Tommy Boy, because that's like as if who's coaching them. So I was very proud of this. So I'm texting my friends. I'm saying that Tommy Boy's coaching the Titans. We can't bet on the Titans anymore. There's no reason to watch the Titans. Tommy Boy. And then on the Bill Simmons podcast that came out late last night, it is titled, one of their subtitles is the Tommy Boy Titans.
No
So
kidding.
now I can't claim it because obviously they don't have, they maybe they are watching my text messages and that's how they got it. But I was very either disappointed or thrilled or whatever to see that somebody else had caught up on that. So we are cutting the Tommy Boy Titans because they are terrible. It looks like they're doing kind of a disservice to Cam Ward early on in his career. Did you see, Darren, that they attempted in the first half? They attempted 260 plus yard field goals that weren't like at the end of the half, that weren't desperation. They attempted a 65-yard field goal with about 6 minutes left in the half in the first half.
Jeez.
And he missed them both, of course. I realize that we're entering a new age of kicker domination, but he missed them both. So twice in the first half, they give the Colts the ball, on the other side of the 50, just for making terribly dumb decisions to kick a field goal that was never going to make it. So, in addition to lacking talent, that team is poorly coached. I saw today that Tommy Boy passed off his play calling duties to one of his assistants. So he's firing himself already as well. It might be a preemptive firing but it's bad. So sometimes you can say, hey, a young team, but what you'd like to see in the second year of a head coach is you'd like to see some growth. You'd like to see some creativity, and they're just bad. I mean, there's not much good going on. Pick six on the first play of the game. It was bad. It was bad. And I might be a little bitter because I thought they were going to really give the Colts a good game. So I'm kind of mad
Yeah.
at them. But they are crossed off. We can cross off the Titans.
Okay.
You have any guesses as to who the other cross off is?
Well, I would have to guess it's one of the other 0-3 teams,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I'm going to take a wild guess, maybe the Giants.
It is not, and I'll get to them in just a minute.
Oh, okay.
But it's the Saints.
Saint.
It's the
Okay.
Saints. Yes. Now I gave them a lot of heck in our first podcast when I talked about how bad their quarterback situation is going to be, and I guess Spencer Rattler hasn't been humiliating, but he is now 0-9 as a starter in his career. The offense is very bad. It's very limited. And I thought maybe they could kind of hang around defensively a little bit. They haven't been very good on defense either. Their special teams was embarrassing on Sunday. In Seattle, that game was 34-3 midway through the second quarter. And you just don't see that very often in the NFL. So the Saints are 0-3. It's an ugly 0-3. They have a horrendous quarterback situation. They have a rookie coach. We can cross off the Saints. We will not be seeing them again this year. They play at Buffalo this week, by the way.
Yeah, that's not looking too bright for them. That's for sure. The game like
That's
that.
not. So,
Yeah,
so
I have
go
a
ahead.
few things I want to mention too, because we lost some people for the season, some very good players. Cleveland lost their starting, I believe, left tackle.
Jones, right?
He's out for the season now. Um, a few former Steelers that I watched quite a bit of. Najee Harris looks like he's going to be done for the season with a torn ligament, I believe he had, and um, James Conner, who former Pittsburgh Steeler, also he is from Erie, where I am. I officiated his games when he was in high school. Looks like he's done for the season also. So, feel bad for those guys. And it was just announced today that the Giants are benching Russell Wilson and putting Jackson Dart in the starting hole for week.
And that is why. So I have a lot of Giant fans in my life. It starts off with my uncle, who is now a regular podcast listener. You'll be happy to know. Possibly because my aunt forces him to. I'm not really sure yet, but I know that maybe she's behind it. But he was a big.
She won't feed him dinner until he listens to the
May
podcast.
probably,
All right. Well,
probably.
thanks, Aunt. We appreciate
Yeah,
that.
there you go. So it started with him. He was a huge Giants fan, and he would often fall asleep on the floor watching the Giant games with a can of Charles chips. And that's one of my earliest memories of football in the NFL is my uncle falling asleep on the floor watching the Giants. So then now my brother-in-law is a Giants fan. I have some friends that are Giants fans. So there is no team I would rather cross off completely than the Giants. The last few years, I've really reveled in some of their ineptitude and misery. It's been great. I'm not. I'm going to be very nice and not cross them off quite yet, simply because they have made the switch to the rookie. Because you just never quite know. I do think Russell Wilson is so far gone at this point. He was embarrassing on Sunday night. What he was, I mean, throwing the ball out of bounds on fourth down at the goal line.
His arm was tired from the week before, having almost
I guess
500
so.
yards. He
Like
was worn
that,
out.
that might be the biggest head fake ever. Was the week two Russell Wilson resurgence where, and then he decided to let us all know that no, you were right the first time. So it was really bad. So I think they made a good choice. The odds that Dart comes in and is able to like turn their season around, they've got some other injuries and issues, is very, very low. But I will give them a chance. I will not cross them off yet. I will also not cross off their counterpart in New York, the Jets, simply because the Jets play the Dolphins on Monday night, and that will organically take care of itself. So whoever loses that one, you can pretty much be sure will be on the list for next week. And then the other one that I have that's maybe a little bit of a surprise is the Bengals are teetering for me. Now they're 2-1, so you might be like, "Oh, well, what are you talking about?" Their defense stinks. Okay, it's
Mhm.
it's bad, and Browning is a fine backup quarterback, but a fine backup quarterback is a guy you want to step in for a week or two to spell your starter. They're going to be playing
But
this.
possibly not week 3 though.
Yeah, not week three, and it's got to last until it looks like week 15.
Yeah.
So the strength of the Bengals was that Burrow could maybe carry them past all their weaknesses. It's basically Burrow and the receivers because their offensive line isn't very good. Their defense is bad. So it was sort of like, how far can this quarterback and our really talented pass catchers take us? And now that's gone. So this could get ugly for the Bengals. Obviously, at 2-1, you're not going to say, they're not done yet, but I think it looks shaky there. So those are the teams that are on my watch list for next week.
Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a very interesting to go. So I believe you're right though. Saints and who's the other one you had?
Titans. You've
Titans.
already
Yeah.
forgotten. See, they're very forgettable,
Yeah.
Darren.
They're
So
very
yeah,
forgettable. Yeah,
yes.
I'm not holding up. I wasn't holding up too much hope for them before the season started, but yeah, I think they're done. I think Pat Kerwin just said it. He says that every year at the beginning of the year, when you go 0-3, you have like a 1% chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean it's bad. No, I think with the
Historically.
17 game schedule, maybe it's those odds have gone up slightly. Just you get that extra game in there. But yeah, you're 0-3. It's gonna be rough. I mean it's gonna be rough.
But
Um,
speaking of 0-3 though, that's where the Bengals were. I believe it was last year, 0-3, and just missed making the playoffs. So
just missed it. Yep.
you never
Yep.
know.
Yeah, there's looking at the 0-3 teams. I guess the Texans would probably be the one that would stand out as being possible to make a late run. That's the one, but I don't like what I see there either.
Yeah, it's got some difficulties down there in Houston, that's for sure.
Well, it's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard if you look at the 0-3 teams to find positives because everybody, it's 0-3 is going to be panicking. But my team's not 0-3, so I'm not worried
Yeah, me neither. I'm
about
worried, and my team's got
it.
is 2-1, and I'm worried.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So you want to review last week?
Uh, well, I thought we were going to skip that part.
No, Darren,
I
it's another W for you. And I think you
really,
know
oh
this. This is modesty. I think this is modesty for you
no,
here.
well, well, there's one that I'm embarrassed on. I had it scratched off. Like I went back and forth on it 2 or 3 times, and I chose the wrong way. But go ahead. Let's hear the results.
All right. So what we got here is I've got to move this a little bit. Am I still on your screen here?
Yeah,
Okay, great. So you had we'll start with this one. We'll do it a combo. We both had the Bears beating the Cowboys. So we both got that one right. I went ahead and gave myself the 2 points. I said a shootout. It wasn't quite a shootout. I do think Caleb that was kind of like the reason for my pick. But I think we were both kind of right on that. We both called that right. The Bears took care of the Cowboys. Their offense looked good. Pretty easy win. We both get 2 points on that one.
okay,
You had Daniel Jones lighting up the Titans and throwing
yeah,
for 3 touchdowns. I am
yeah.
giving you a point on that because he didn't get to the 3 touchdowns, but he did light up the Titans. Meaning the only reason he didn't throw more touchdowns is because they were scoring touchdowns so easily in other ways.
No, they're
So
running all over him with
running
Taylor.
all over him,
Jeez.
and then every third down that they needed, he got. So it was no problem. I give you, I won't give you the full two because he didn't get to the exact, but we'll give you one for that.
Fair
Um,
enough.
the Bengals scoring 30 or more in Minnesota. You can't.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Maybe I should give you some points because the Bengals offense almost gave the Vikings 30 points.
Yeah, I didn't
So
say who they'd score 30 points from.
right, right. So
No,
yeah, between the scoop and scores and the interceptions that Browning was throwing, that was one of those games again on the multi-view. I wasn't really paying a lot of attention, but every time I glanced down, there was another Viking defensive player running towards the end zone with the football. So I was like,
that,
what is happening down there?
that's the game I'm embarrassed about because I had 2 or 3 times I had Wentz scoring 30 and crushing the Bengals. And I said, you know what? Vikings have like 3 offensive linemen out. They're going to make the Bengals defensive line look like superstars. And boy, was I wrong on that. That's where I ended up going to. And I figured Wentz was going to get crushed. And boy, was I wrong on that.
Yeah, so woulda, coulda, shoulda
Yeah, right.
on that one, Darren. So you have no points for you on that one. You are going to get also you're going to get 0 points for your Steelers tight ends catching 3 touchdowns.
I
They
don't even
got
think they caught
zero.
3 passes. I don't think.
Exactly. Kind of ironic though, because on the other side in that game, the Patriots, Hunter Henry, I think he had 8 catches and 2 touchdowns. So
Right.
you were maybe somewhere in there, you had this psychic vision of tight ends, and you just had the helmets mixed up.
That could be. Could be.
So a zero on that as well, and then you do get 2 points. You should probably get some sort of asterisk, like a bonus point, perhaps. 2 points for the Lions upsetting the Ravens. You didn't say it would be close. You didn't say that. Oh, I think they'll make it a tight game. You said the Lions are going to go in there and win, and they did. So 2 big points for you there. That gives you 5 for the week, and that gives you a grand total through 3 weeks of 12 points.
Oh, right. I'll take that. I'll take that. I just wish I would have had enough guts. And I think I mentioned it. I wasn't brave enough to pick the Browns over the Packers, and I chickened out on that one. But
You did mention that
yeah,
now that I think about it. Yeah, see, you got to go with it.
yeah, I was
You
too
got to go
squeamish.
feel it. You got to go with it.
Yeah.
So on mine, we already talked about the Bears. I did get the 2 points for that one. Also, I was head to head with you on the Lions. I think you're 3-0 with me on these head to heads now each week because I had the Ravens not only beating the Lions but winning by 7 or more. And talk about the wrong side of that game because while the Ravens did very briefly take a 7 point lead, at no point in that game did the Ravens feel like the right side. That the Lions were ready to roll. They looked great.
Well,
So
I'll tell you where I got a little bit nervous about that is at the end of the first half. The Lions had that great defensive stand, at the 1 yard line or whatever they did, and end up strip sacking Lamar on fourth down, and end up going three and out, punting the ball, and the Ravens come down and score right before the half and get the ball back. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not looking too good for the Lions on that. But
Yeah, they look great. I don't know what they were doing to Lamar. They maybe I think they were spying him in the middle or something because not only did he looked very uncomfortable all night and looked like he wasn't quite sure when he wanted to take off. Hold the ball, hold the ball, hold the ball, and then now I'm going to try to run and it's too late. And I haven't seen him look that flustered in a while, and I think there might be some problems there with the Ravens now. That's kind of got the antennas up a little bit because that's the third week in a row their defense hasn't looked very good. And they had a lot of trouble holding off the Lions front as well. So maybe something to watch there.
it feels a little bit like deja vu because last year they struggled the beginning of the year. The defense looked really suspect, and then all of a sudden, offense defense clicks in, and they're the best team in the NFL for a while.
Yep. So they got to hope that that's going to happen again because it looks shaky start, shaky start. I do get 2 points for I said the Jets will keep it close. That you will look up in the fourth quarter and be like, "Whoa, the Jets are in this game in Tampa." I got kind of lucky on that. It was 23-6 at one point, and it looked very bad. It didn't look like at any point the Jets were going to get in that game. They kind of snuck back in it. We talked about the blocked field goal that gives them the lead. So I think, yeah, of course, yeah, they had the lead with 3 minutes to go. I was right. So I'm definitely
Yeah,
giving myself 2 points on that one.
well
I'm
deserved. You were all over it.
Yeah, I'm going to get a 0 going back to that Minnesota game because I said that Wentz and Browning would combine for 4+ touchdowns. I think they got to 3, but that wasn't the type of game that I was predicting at all. I thought it was going to be very back and forth, close. I kind of thought the Vikings would win, but I thought it would be sort of an exciting game with a lot of receivers making big plays, and it just wasn't. So a 0 on that. And then I am mad about this one because I'm going to get a 0 for my negative tush push result. But I should have gotten one because the Eagles false started again on the tush push down by the goal line, and the refs missed it again. If you can't tell, my bitterness towards the Eagles grows weekly. So the day had gone so well, right? For me, the Commanders win easily. There's all these exciting games. The Rams are lining up to kick this game-winning field goal. Eagles are going to lose. We're going to be tied for the division. And then here we go with this Eagles voodoo magic that they've now stolen from the Chiefs. And this crazy, their second blocked field goal of the quarter that this gets returned for a touchdown. But I'm going to get 0 on that, even though I feel like I got robbed just like the Rams did. So I
Well,
get, go ahead.
I will give you some credit though, because since you said that when we recorded this last week, and the rest of the week, at least once a day, I heard a national media head talking about banning the tush push,
They're
and which
all
I have,
stealing
which,
my ideas, Darren. See, they're
which
like
I haven't heard that in a while, but I heard it all last week. So
everybody's tuned in to Pigskin Dispatch
yeah,
podcast. See,
must be.
there you
You're
go.
an influencer.
There you go. There you go. That's good. Oh, by the way, there was a flag called on a tush push in the Saints Seahawks game. So how funny is that? The
All
Saints
right.
tried it. The guard started a little early and they flagged it and pushed him back. So poor Saints, Yeah.
They need to
So
get
I
Taysom Hill going.
right. So I got 4 points for the week, which gives me 8 for the season. And that is now a 12-8 lead for you through 3 weeks.
All right, I'll take it. I'll take it.
So that's where we stand.
Okay.
And I cannot remember who went. I think you went. I went first last week. You go first this week.
Okay, I think that's right, Doug. I think you went the odd weeks you've gone first. I think
Okay.
for week 1 and 3. All right. Well, I'm gonna stay on this kick here of trying to pick. I believe it's a Thursday game. Is the Seahawks and the Cardinals, and I'm gonna say that the Seahawks are gonna feast in the desert, and they're gonna win convincingly over the ailing Cards.
Got it. Big win. Big win. Seahawks. Big over Cards. Okay, it's kind of funny because my first pick also is on the Thursday night game, and it's not head to head per se. I have the both of those. So both of those teams' defenses have been pretty good so far, and now with James Conner out, as you mentioned, and then factoring the short week, I think that speaks a little bit more to defense. So I think both deep and a divisional game with familiar foes and opponents and coaches and all that. So I think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think it's going to be kind of ugly, sort of that somewhat typical Thursday that we see fairly often. And I think the teams are going to combine for 40 or fewer points in the game. So both
Mm,
defenses kind of dominate. If you put a gun to my head, I'd probably pick the Seahawks to win it as well. I do not think they'll roll like you did, but I think they'll probably squeak it out. I am not as much as I applauded Baker Mayfield last week. I am not a very big fan of another OU quarterback. I'm not a big Kyler Murray guy. There's just it's too erratic for me. Too much going backwards when scrambling. Um, Really, some amazing things he can do, but I just don't trust him. I just don't have a lot of trust. This is a really tough divisional game. It might be one of those that you got to kind of grind out. And I think I'd lean to the Seahawks, but I'm definitely going to lean to the under. So I'm going to say 40 or fewer points combined.
okay. All right. 40 or under.
All right.
All right. Well, I'm going to go to the Buffalo Bills on my next pick. And I am going to do another combo of offensive players. I'm going to say that
Okay.
Shakir and Kincaid are going to combine for at least 3 scores in a Bills rout of the Saints.
Kieran Kincaid, 3 touchdowns, route. Well, I'm certainly not going to say the route part of that is bold, considering that they
No.
are playing the Saints. However, that is very specific on Shakir and Kincaid going for 3+ touchdowns. So those have to happen in conjunction, correct?
Sure.
You
We'll
need a
say that's
route. Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, I'm certainly not going to push back on you on traditionally the Bills, I think, are 16.5 point favorites, which is going to be the biggest number we've seen in the league so far this year. It might wind up being the biggest number all season. Traditionally, in those really big spreads, the underdog has done well over the course of 50 years of NFL football in terms of covering the spread, at least. So the odds would actually tell you that it may not be quite as big of a whitewashing as it might appear. However, it's very hard after watching those two teams to land on any other possible result. And it's sort of like, well, if the Saints do wind up keeping it within 15, let's say, will it be because of a Bills mercy? You know what I mean? It's very hard to see that the Saints actually staying in this game.
Yeah, it was. But like you say, that usually teams rally, and it's a home game in New Orleans, but I'm still picking with the Bills.
So no, it's in Buffalo.
It is in Buffalo? Oh, okay. All right.
The news gets worse for the Saints.
Oh, okay. It's
Yes,
in Buffalo.
yes,
Wow, they
yes,
got a couple
yes.
home games in a row then.
Yes. So
Yeah.
crisscrossing the nation, the Saints, Seattle to Buffalo, get your butt whooped all over the country. There you go. So I'm gonna go way out of the country, and I'm gonna follow your guys, the Steelers to Dublin. I have another defensive-minded prediction, one that you may not like, because I think the Vikings defense is exceptional, and I think they are going to give Aaron Rodgers hell in Dublin on early Sunday morning. Again, wow, the Europe games are great because that expands our day by even 3 more hours. so,
Right.
so now it's all in. It's fantastic. Um, I think the Vikings defense is going to. I'm just going to say Aaron Rodgers is going to have an objectively bad game, meaning there'll be no doubt. Okay. I don't know if that's going to mean multiple interceptions, fumbles, super low yards, very low production, very low quarterback rating. He's going to really, really struggle. The Vikings are going to dominate him. And I think the Vikings will win the game as well. But really, my pick is more about the Vikings defense eating Rodgers up.
Okay, well, they should know him very well. They played against him for so many years. Of course, different coaching staffs, different players. But I found this kind of interesting. This is before last night's game, the Monday night game. They said that Rodgers has the most red zone touchdown passes in the NFL. He had 6, and nobody
Wow.
else had more than
Okay.
5. So, which kind of shocked me. But he really hasn't been throwing the ball that far. I think he's like an average like 3 yards per pass or something. So.
Well, last week was sort of hard to judge with the Patriots turning it over 5 times. It's kind of
Yeah.
it's difficult. That's going to be hard for Pittsburgh to repeat week after week.
Yeah, I
But
don't I don't want them to repeat it because they had
right
their first 2 drives were good and the final drive was good. Everything in between was really kind of putrid.
there you go. Yeah, Minnesota can really D up.
Yeah, they're a pretty good team.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like the pick. Well, I don't like the pick, but I think it's a
yeah. I
good
was gonna
pick.
say.
All right, well, I am going to go to the battle of the winless teams. I'm going to go to the Texans. I'm going to say they're going to get their first win. which isn't going out too far on a thing. But I'm going to say C.J. Stroud has two touchdown tosses and runs in another. He's going to have three
Oh, okay.
scores
Wow.
altogether.
Two
So I'm going to be
touchdowns.
very specific because it's not real bold just picking the Texans.
Yeah, because your last two picks so far, Darren, have been that the two teams we crossed off earlier in the podcast are going to lose on the road. So there you
So,
go. So yeah, you had to attach. I think you had to attach something specific to it, which you've done well there. My third pick, we're going to go out to Santa Clara, the site of the Super Bowl this year, and I'm going to predict an upset. I think the Jags are going to go into San Francisco and win that game outright. I'm not. This is a little bit more of a pick on the reality of what the Niners are dealing with right now, as
mm,
opposed to anything amazing I've seen from the Jags. Their injuries are over the top. It took everything they had to squeak out that game against the Cardinals, and they got some good fortune there at the end too. 16-15 was the final, and that was a pretty ugly game. They are really hurting. I'm assuming Purdy's still going to be out. So that would change things if that weren't the case. But I think the Jags are going to go in there. They're going to keep it close, and they're going to find a way to win late. Mac Jones has done a pretty admirable job, but I think he might turn into a pumpkin a little bit this week. Things catch up to the Niners. It's not a really huge game for San Francisco. They're already 3-0. They're playing an AFC team. It's one they could probably afford to lose. Probably not a big deal. So I'm picking the Jags to win that game outright.
well, I couldn't agree with you more, and I think we're going to be head to head on this, but in total agreement on this because I have one of my picks being Jags taking out the Niners in San Fran, and
Oh,
Trevor Lawrence having a day because I think dude is locked on and he's grooving right now.
all right. Well, look, we're either both going to win or we're both going to lose that one. So there's no way
Right.
to make up points on that. So then my fourth one is going to be that, again, talking about my Giants people. I think Jackson Dart is going to have a good debut at home for the Giants against the 3-0 Chargers. I don't think the Giants are going to win that game, but I think that they are going to keep it close and that Dart is going to be somewhat impressive. That he's going to, I think, first of all, first things first, I think he's going to really energize the team and the fans. The fans, I read some things online. The Giants fans said it was about as dead as they can ever remember it in the Meadowlands on Sunday night for a home opener. Because I think the fans just know. You're looking on the field, you see this old quarterback on this 0-2 team. You're going nowhere. You got this rookie on the bench. It's like, what are we waiting for? Right. So it's almost like you don't even want Wilson to do that well because you just want to see the kid play. Right. So it's sort of like, let's rip the band aid off. He's had 3 weeks to kind of acclimate to the league. Let's get him out there. We've seen plenty of rookie quarterbacks now that do fine when they start in their rookie year. So let's take the kid gloves off. Let's throw him out there. The Giants' schedule is really tough. So there was really no great place to start him. So here we go. So I think they start Dart. I think he's gonna. Eventually, he's probably going to take some lumps, no doubt. But I think he's going to get off to a nice start. They're going to keep it close. That's going to be kind of a fun game. Another game where it's the fourth quarter, like, oh wait, the Giants are in this. So that's my pick there.
Well, I like the pick, and I think it might be interesting because Dart's mobility might be a factor in that because Russell's a little bit long in the tooth, not able to move as well as he used to, and Dart may make a difference there and having that quick release on the run like he had showed in college so often with Ole Miss. It was fun to watch. So yeah, I think that might be an interesting pick.
And that's definitely part of it. Wilson has no desire to run the ball anymore, none. So yeah, and when you're a little bit of an under talented team trying to fight through some of these games, you got to have a quarterback that can just make some plays for you. 3rd and 6, they blow the protection, the receivers can't get open, and the quarterback just makes a play, first down. So that Dart's going to give them a much better chance of that than Wilson did.
Yeah, and I think he's going to be a lot like Drake May has been this year. Drake May, not a particularly good team he's on, but the guy's making things happen, and sometimes with his legs, and I think that's what Dart can do too.
I can see it. So what's your
Passing
last
wise.
pick?
Well, I am going to go with the big boys. These are the preseason favorites in the AFC. I'm going to have the Ravens Chiefs game. I'm going to have the Ravens. I think they're going to be a little bit upset with themselves from last weekend's showing. I mean, what schedule the Ravens have had to start off this season.
All right.
I mean, these four games are just, four of the top teams in the NFL that they're playing. but they're going to beat the Chiefs in KC by at least 2 scores. I think they're going to
Wow.
embarrass the
Okay.
Chiefs and put the Chiefs to 1-3.
Ravens win by 9 or more. By 9+. Okay, because that's 2 scores. Okay. All right. Yeah, that game I've really waffled on. I can't. I wanted to pick that one because it's obviously kind of a very interesting game. It's kind of hard to believe that either the Ravens or the Chiefs are going to be 1-3 after this game. And I think the Ravens are the right pick. I really do. But it's almost as if there's like a force field around me that just will not allow me to say the words out loud that, the Chiefs are going to lose their second game at home. They're going to fall to 1-3. They're going to be in real trouble. If they're 1-3, they're in real trouble, especially in that division. They're in trouble. And it's hard to imagine that that's going to be a reality for the Chiefs, but it probably is, but I can't get the words out. I just can't. So it's almost like if I wrote down on my notes, who am I going to pick? It would say Ravens, 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 Ravens. And then somebody's going to ask me and I would go, Chiefs, Mahomes, Reed, they win. It's like I can't do it. So
You need
I'm
to take a
staying away
lesson from my Green Bay Cleveland pick last week. You got to go with your gut.
I'm not doing it. So I'm just going to stay away from that one. And my last pick is going to be maybe a little bit of a boring one. We're going to stick with the defensive theme. I'm going to fade, I guess you could say, Daniel Jones and the Colts just a little bit, going out to LA to play the Rams. This is more of a pro Rams pick than it is an anti-Colts pick. I do think the Colts are pretty legit. That offense is really good, and I think that's a well-coached football team with a pretty balanced roster. I think they're going to be just fine, but I do think they're going to go out to LA and struggle with that Rams defense, who's good, and I think they're going to be a little salty after last week as well. There's also the human nature factor a little bit. The Colts now are 3-0. It's their back-to-back road games. They're flying out west. I don't think it's anything conscious that you're like, oh, we're not going to take this as seriously or not. But there's got to be a little seed in the back of your head, road game, NFC team. Maybe they're not quite, whereas the Rams are coming in really fired up. So I'm going to say the Rams defense holds the Colts. The Colts are averaging 34 a game right now. So I think the Rams defense is going to hold the Colts to under 24. So 23 or less is what the Colts are going to score on Sunday in a Rams victory.
Well, okay, interesting. Sort of Daniel Jones getting stifled a little bit.
Yeah, I think a little bit. Yeah. So I think, and I'm just such a huge Sean McVay fan. I just think he's exceptional. And I think they'll be ready to bounce back coming off that really got to be a very frustrating loss for them because they had the Eagles beat 3 or 4 different times.
Yeah, it just couldn't put him away. That block.
Those damn Eagles.
Yeah, that block kick really did him in. It's almost like the Eagles are living like what the Patriots were like the last 20 years. It seems like everything goes their way to get these last minute wins. But you got to be good to put yourself in those positions. So
unfortunately, yes.
That's off to the Eagles.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that makes a very interesting week 4 for us, and it's going to be some great games to watch again, I hope, just like last weekend. And like you said, Sunday we have a very long day of football, approximately 15 hours of football on.
I can't wait, and neither can my wife. I can tell you that. Right?
Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah.
Or my aunt or my uncle who are out there too. Yes. So yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So get the can of chips on the floor and get ready to watch some
Charles chips. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. All right, Ed. We will see what our results are next week here, same bat time, but same bat channel, Wednesday on Pigskin Dispatch, YouTube, and podcast with Ed Cleese and Darren Hayes. Ed, good luck this week, but not too much luck. I want to extend that lead.
Thanks, Darren. Have a great week.
That's all the football history we have today, folks. Join us back tomorrow for more of your football history. We invite you to check out our website, pigskindispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskindispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. Special thanks to the talents of Mike and Jean Monroe, as well as Jason Neff for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.